You probably noticed by now that as we were getting more familiar with Python, we ran into some errors and exceptions. Like when you created strings with mismatched quotes or forgot converting between data types. These exceptions are just Python complaining that it does not understand what you want it to do. Even the most skilled programmers in the world make mistakes, and therefore it is extremely important to know how to identify the problem and how to fix it. This process of handling errors is also called debugging. So let's go ahead and study a few of the most common errors beginners make and how to identify the problem and fix it. To do so, I have prepared a Python program called Buggy Teleportation with Messages. The program has several common bugs, so let's go ahead and open the file and fix the problems. I have included the file as part of the class materials, which you can download from the class website. So I go to my variables folder, and here's my Buggy Teleportation with Messages file. I open it, and I'm going to run it right away. Before running it, let's have a quick look at what I have here. I have code to connect to Minecraft. Then I have code to establish the coordinates I want to teleport to. And then I have code to teleport the player and post a message saying where I teleported to. If you are an attentive reader, you have probably noticed a few problems with this code, but I'll go ahead and run it. Run module. Okay, so here comes the first error, syntax error, unexpected indent. And we saw this kind of error before. So the problem here is I have a run space. Remember, Python is very picky about spaces, and the editor is nice enough to show us what the problem is here. So remove this unnecessary space, and that fixes that particular problem. Now let's run it again. And now it's telling us that there's another syntax error, invalid syntax, and it shows us where the error is. And here the problem is that we are trying to post a message to the chat. This is supposed to be a string, but we forgot the quotes. Now I'm going to introduce another error here. And you should probably know what this error is now. So I'm going to run it, and it says EOL while scanning string literal. So whenever you see this, it's very likely that you used the wrong quotes. So I used double quotes to open, so I should use double quote to close. I could also use single quotes everywhere, and that is also fine as long as the opening and closing quotes match. I run this, and now it says name error. Name X is not defined, and it shows us that the error happens at line 11, and it shows us exactly which line it's failing. So using this information, line 11 and which specific line that is, and also what the error is, we can easily identify the problem. So in this particular case, it's saying that X is not defined, and we are trying to use X here. So let's go back to our script. Line 11, you can check the line number right here. So right now it's line 12, so I go one line above that, line 11. And the problem is here. I'm trying to use this X here, but I forgot to create it. When I defined the coordinates to teleport to, I forgot to create X. So this is a very common mistake. Sometimes you think you have a variable and you try to use it, and then Python complains that actually the variable doesn't exist. So now I'm gonna create X. I'm gonna give it any value here. I'm gonna save with Control S and run this again. Cool. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I teleported. There's a message here saying ready to teleport. And then I actually did teleport somewhere. But then after my teleportation happened, Python complained again about something. So let's see what the error now is. It says type error, can only concatenate string, not int to string. All right, so very clear. It's a type error. I'm trying to probably mix two different data types, and then this message just comes to confirm my suspicion. So I tried to concatenate. Remember, concatenate is when you try to put strings together with the plus sign. But I tried to concatenate an integer and a string, and that's not possible. So that happened at line 13, which is this line. So I go back to the script, line 13, confirm here, line 13. So this is where I tried to create this message composed of a very long string followed by the contents of the X, followed by another string, which is just a comma, followed by the contents of Y, followed by another string, which is a comma, followed by the contents of Z, and then another string that closes the parentheses for my message. And the problem here is that, as we saw earlier, when we were learning about converting between data types, I cannot put integers and strings together. Before I can actually do this concatenation, I need to convert these ints to strings. So I can do this right here using str to convert those integer values into strings. Okay, and now when I run it, I teleport. Of course, it was the same place, so you didn't see any actual teleportation because I'm already there. But my message is printed correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and change these coordinates. So I'm going to use some negative value here. I'm going to change this a little bit here, maybe 45. Okay, so notice where we are. And I'm gonna run it, and now I jumped somewhere else. So the message says ready to teleport, then I teleport, and then it says player teleported to X, Y, and Z, and whatever the X, Y, and Z I selected was. And as you can see, I'm somewhere else. Everything happened very fast, but we will learn how to slow things down later. But for now, this is enough. We were able to fix all our bugs. Those are very common bugs that beginners and sometimes even experts do. So this is it for error handling. I hope you fully understand how to read the error message, how to determine what to do from that information.